the mighty barbarian mounted his, lighted upon his magnificent steed. No, you're gonna laugh. Braden hopped on his horse. Suddenly, 1,000 orcs appeared from nowhere. And welcome to the corner. Hello everybody and welcome to DMNoob.com. My name is Mike, I am the DM Noob, and this is our ongoing series about Dungeon Master tips coming from the new guy to the new guy. This particular episode is one that I've been planning for a little while and writing on for a little while because it is about exactly that, writing and planning and what I call the corner. The corner is not a place you want to be. This is about writing yourself or playing yourself into a corner and getting stuck, which is a horrible position to find yourself in. When you're a DM, you want to be able to flow the story and you want to be able to make it work for everybody. But through writing or playing or improper planning or the unusual creativity of a particular group of people, you can find yourself in a bit of a hole where you have no idea where to go or what's going on. Now, I have been victim to this a lot. I am a published author. I have done books on different subjects. I've done several magazine articles. I've done books on magic. I've written for magic magazines, pinball magazines, all kinds of stuff. And I've worked on a couple of novels that have caused me problems in the past as well. And I have found myself repeatedly in the corner. I have either written or set myself into a position where I don't know where to go. I don't know what I'm doing. I have lost track of everything. And I don't know what to do next. I don't know where to take things next. I have literally written myself into a corner and I don't know how to get out. This video is about how to avoid that, some of the pitfalls that can lead to that, and some of the things that can be a real problem, and ways to avoid it and ways to get yourself out of it, or better yet, just avoid it in the first place. A good example of this is quite recently in my most recent live game. We've been playing for maybe 10 sessions now. We started back we put the group together in March of this year. We started playing in April. I had very early on a concept of a character that I wanted to do. His name was, his designation was Omega. There's a long story behind that. The players got to know him not as Omega, but as the architect in session 0, basically, in the first branch of our adventure together. Now, the architect has caused no real problems. He has not been a pain in these guys' side. He has come off exactly as I conceived him, but he's been no major danger to the players. He's been very kind and generous to them and helped them out a lot, and yet they are terrified of him every time they run into him, which has been a couple of times now in the 10 or so sessions that we've been playing this campaign. Now, I had a concept of him back in March. Well, I actually got vaguely the idea of this guy quite a long time ago, but he kind of developed as I was getting ready to start this game. And like I said, we formed the group back in March. We didn't start playing till April. So we had a couple, 2-3 weeks on Discord, which I like to do. I have all my players on Discord so that we can chat in between games, or so that before the game starts, we can get to know each other a little bit, talk, and set everything up. We can get characters and house rules and everything together, and it works brilliantly. But I started having the concept of this character, and I had not fleshed him out. I just had a basic concept. And I remembered this concept during the game. And I decided to put him in the game. Now, those of my crew that are watching this right now, yeah, I didn't have him ready. And I probably shouldn't have introduced him at that point, but I did, because I was being an idiot. And the conflict and the situation went so well that he became a very integral part, far more than I had planned for the story. Now, that's cool. You know, we've got a great character and everything, but now the situation came up where they ran into him again. And I didn't have the slightest clue how this was going to go. And I've done this repeatedly. I've screwed this up before. Not since. I actually did it last 2 weeks ago. I screwed it up again. But we'll talk about that. So what happened was the character was trying to help them out with something, and we ended up having an interaction with him that I had not entirely planned on. And so I had to make up a lot of stuff on the fly. Now, since then, I have been writing like crazy. I prep like mad for my sessions. I'm probably way more than a lot of DMs do. But I had done a lot more writing with him. I write a lot for these characters. And I have since completed the entire story of the Architect. And I'm going to talk in a little bit about how I did that and how that's going to work, because I did it probably differently than most NPCs. I had not planned on this NPC being the most integral part of the story, but it's beautiful how it came together. So what I want to talk about with this video, now that I've been ranting on for 6 minutes already, is some of the solutions to not getting yourself into a corner. So the first and easiest solution, if you are a new DM and you want to avoid getting yourself into a corner, is don't write things. Go get one of these. Probably not this one if you're a first timer. Go get this. Go get Phandelver. And just play it to the nines. Play it by the script. Stick to the script. And yeah, things are going to go awry. Things are going to go in directions you hadn't planned on. But if you're a new DM, probably don't engage in the joy of trying to make up a whole bunch of stuff. Now, my players know in different campaigns I've done that this never looks like Phandelver by the time we're into it. I change it quite a bit, but I've kind of gotten used to it. But if you're a new DM, don't try. You know, don't be a hero. Don't try and mercer your way into everything and be some god of the storylines. Grab a book and stick to it. That's really the easiest solution. But even then, it doesn't always go according to plan. Those of you who are familiar with Phandelver, very early on, you run into a series of orcs and a bugbear in a cave on your way to Phandalin, the city, the main city of the story. And I had it all planned out according to the book and according to how I wanted to do it, how this interaction was going to go and how everything was going to come together. Their solution was unique, creative, and a pain in my ass, but it was so much fun. It was incredibly funny. What ended up happening is one of my players, when they confronted Clark up in his cave to try and get those provisions, cast illusion and caused a naked female bugbear to appear and be very amorous and available on his bed. And they then basically turned him into a sex slave and used persuasion to get him to be their slave and carry all of the items into Phandalin. And now he's running around in the forest nearby, assaulting trees that he thinks is not trees. Now, I let it go. Kind of screwed some of my plans, but you know, these guys are so super creative, and I just let them do it. Yes, I've said no to things that, you know, you can go into a previous video and learn more about that. But so sticking to the book doesn't always work, but it can definitely be superior to having to write all of this yourself and accidentally getting yourself stuck in a corner. But if you're like me, that's just not good enough, and you're going to want to do more. So let's talk about how to do this and how to not get yourself stuck. Okay, so you're going to do some writing. You're going to write an NPC, a side adventure, a quest, a hook, something. 2 main key ingredients to keep yourself from getting in trouble. Plan and write. Plan, write. Plan, write. Plan it out. Get all the details you can together. Plan this out. Don't ad-lib this. Don't ad-lib this. And by the way, don't ad-lib this, okay? Plan it. And write. I have since, as I said, I've corrected the Omega arc. It is complete. Now, I have, I love these. I love all kind of notebooks and stuff. I'll talk about that in a second, but I have 12 of these loaded with the arc now for Omega, with all my notes, all my characters, everything. I've finished writing it, which I should have done in the first place, but I've since had to do this with other things, and here's how I approach it. First, I've conceptualized something. Let's say it's, you know, an NPC that you've wanted to come up with, like the architect. You've conceptualized it, so, oh, this is a cool idea, and its inspiration has come from somewhere, and you want to turn this into a reality. So, you know, here we go. We have a concept. Start a beginning. Get yourself a good beginning in there somewhere. Where are they going to run into him? You know, and how's this first interaction supposed to go? Start there. Then go write an end. Before you do anything else, go write an end. What's the payoff? What's the end conclusion to this NPC, to this character? Why are they there? What's the eventual goal? Is this just a character who's just there for the ride? Is this an arc? Is this an enemy that they will face? What's the deal? How is this going to go? What's the end of the story? That's next. Then go back and write. If this is an NPC, write some backstory. Where did he come from? What's his deal? You know, why is there a stick up his ass? Why is he around? Get some backstory together. Now, backstory for these characters is critical because, well, I'll get to that in a second, but there's another point to this. There's 12 points, but it's the same point. You've got a beginning, you've got an end, and you've got a rough idea of what's going on. Write yourself in detail 12 points, 12 interactions, 12 scenarios. And start with that before you even vaguely consider bringing this guy out. Write yourself 12 different scenarios where they could run into him, where they might run into him. What's the interaction going to be like? What's he going to be like? What's the outcome of these interactions going to be? And what direction is it going to take? Write all this stuff down. Make a plan with it. That way, when you have that and you have a good backstory, you have a path. You have a path as a DM and a storyteller that you can follow. Now, we know that, as DMs, we know that even this doesn't go even remotely according to plan. Or if you have this, which is my current notebook for, full writing, all the stuff you put together, all the interactions, all the NPCs, all of the adventures, the items and everything, maybe 10% of it's going to make it in, and you're not going to be able to use all this wonderful stuff that you put together. And don't plan on it, don't be offended by the fact that you might not. But make sure it's all there. I think it was Don Rickles, and I heard this when I was a magician and I was learning from other magicians how to plan a show. And it was about ad-libbing. And ad-lib is only good after the 100th time. So what might seem spontaneous to them, or what might be this big exciting thing, you've got it planned out. I'm lucky in that I live a pretty fair amount away from where we play. I live about an hour north of where we actually play. We play here at my day job, and we have a beautiful, wonderful space. We meet once a week in the evening to play, and it's great. It's been a good facility for us. But so I have a long drive to and from work. I have an hour alone with my thoughts, which is a dangerous place to be. And so I will play the scenarios in my head, and I will play the characters, I'll play the NPCs, and I'll get a dozen or two different outcomes in my head. And then when I get to work, before I get started, or on my lunch break, I'll grab my notebook and I'll start writing. I'll start writing everything down, and I'll have pages of notes. Now, like I said, things will go right, things will go differently than planned. If the direction goes in some odd direction during the game, or, well, we'll get to that. So if it goes in an odd direction, write it down. Write it down. Any kind of interactions or stuff that weren't in your notes already, write them down. They will and can be a very valuable tool. You've got an idea in your head. Don't bring ideas straight to the table that you came up with on this dice roll, and then 20 minutes later a situation pops up where it's going to be perfect and you're going to use it right then. Try not to do that. I'm not Matt Mercer. I'm not Brian Murphy. I'm not any of those guys, and probably neither are you. You may be an amazing DM, in which case, why the hell are you watching me? But when you're a new DM, you might not have the chops yet to bullshit your way through these situations. I had to very recently because I had not planned on something. Here's what happened. Right now we played through, when we started this group, a couple of one-shotters, and then they started Phandelver, because I wanted to bring all of their new characters up to certain levels where I wanted them to be before we launched into Strahd. Now, because of writing and planning that I'd done, and also because of the desires of my players, Phandelver has been mixed with Lair of the Vampire Queen, which is, as you guys know, the very first Dungeons and Dragons adventure. I have worked it into the story, and I have worked some of the characters into Phandelver that they've run into, and it's worked beautifully. But because of my own hubris, they've also met Strahd early in a very strange, very creepy encounter. Strahd has ties with the architect, and so they encountered Strahd early in a very, like I said, really weird situation. But again, in my hubris and my thinking how big of a badass I am, I gave them the ability to contact Strahd if they needed to. Never thinking this would come to pass, because who the hell wants to talk to Strahd? Okay, he's evil. But next week, Nix decides to call Strahd. I hadn't planned for it. I had no idea. I should have, but I didn't. And I then had to take the next 2 hours of the game and completely and totally make it up off the top of my head. the conversations, the directions, the future plans, all of the questions and everything else that came up. I had to bullshit my way through all of it. And afterwards, talking to a couple of my key players that I share stuff with, they had no idea. They had no idea. And again, that's probably just because I've become really good at bullshitting. But then I had to go back and change my campaign. So now I'm writing and writing and writing to finish it up and change things. So try and anticipate and plan, because I accidentally there, what I did was I played myself into a corner, and I ended up back into the corner. And so I've determined that I don't want to do this to myself anymore. So if that's probably the biggest things I can help you with on this is plan, write, and stick to a script as much as you can if you're new. Don't try and be a hero and wander the garden path off to the sides and find your own way through. Not until you're ready to. I don't consider myself that I was ready to. But unfortunately, I wrote myself into a corner and I've had to write myself out of it. Now, luckily, my players have enjoyed it, but it's a bit like another old magician friend of mine taught me that they don't know it's wrong if you don't tell them it's wrong. They think that you've planned it. Leave it be. Let them think you did, because you look a lot cooler that way. So just write, plan. I was going to show you guys. I have tons of these all over my house. I've got the little ones like this, and I'm constantly writing. Like I said, I've been working this architect arc for quite a long time, and then I always have one of these on me. Always. It's in my back pocket, and I love this particular kind of pencil. These are $5 for a couple of bucks at Walmart. I'm a big pen guy. My wife loves pens and is obsessed with them, but I found this to be my particular favorite. This is the Tool brand, available from Office Depot, Office Max, about $2 a pen. The best. But always have a notepad on you, because you don't know when inspiration is going to strike. You don't know when things are just going to come to your head and go boom. Make sure you have the ability to write it down. Same thing in my car. I'll just really quickly record something on my phone, and then I'll go back and write notes for it later. These notes are going to be invaluable to you, and it helps you to not write yourself into a corner. So thank you for joining me for a little bit on this video. Most of this was ranting and ranting, and I did try and plan it out the best I could. A good point for the video, but I've got lots more videos coming. Maybe this has been a little bit of a help to you. Please leave me comments below. Tell me that I'm completely crazy, or that you have ideas and stuff too for how to avoid writing yourself into a corner. I do have more videos coming up, so please like, comment, and subscribe on this one. I wanted to let you guys know two things. Number one, as I've said, the Omega and Architect arc I have completely finished now in a dozen different directions, and it's incredibly modular. It is scaffolding that you can build everything else around, or use it to support other things. Now, I've talked to a lot of DM friends, and they have all said the same thing. Write it down. So I'm in the process of compiling all of this into a proper adventure book. Like one of these. I'm not going to make it available for quite some time, because my players are just getting into this arc, and I don't want to even remotely have the chance of spoilers for them for the seriously cool shit that's coming. But later this year I will start a Kickstarter, and I will make this available and try and get it published. Number two, in the next week, I have a video planned. What this video is presentation. It's putting it together, how to present and how to make your presentation memorable, how to make it worth your players' time, how to make it worth your audience time, and how to put those special moments in that are going to mean a lot to your players. This is really going to be a cool video. because I have a friend that will be a part of that video. I will be discussing these topics with world famous and renowned magician Rocco Solano, who is genuinely, I don't say this because he's a friend, I say this genuinely because he is quite possibly the finest magician alive. He is amazing. We'll show you some clips. But he will be joining us next week. We're still finishing planning when we're going to record. We're going to try and record early part of next week. And I cut these videos pretty quickly, so hopefully later part of next week you'll be able to see that. But if there's anything that any of my videos will ever teach you at all, this will be the one that you're going to want to be a part of. So please leave me any comments, like I said, down below. Like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff, because I really appreciate it. And I really want to make more of these. So thank you. I appreciate everybody spending some time with me, and we will see you again soon.